Let us now go to the theory of rebirth. This theory teaches that each spirit is an integral part of God, that it enfolds all divine possibilities, that by means of many lives in an earthly body, of gradually improving texture, its latent powers are being slowly unfolded to become available as dynamic energy, that none can be lost, but that all will ultimately attain to perfection and reunion with God, each bringing with it the accumulated experiences which are the fruitage of its pilgrimage through matter. This earth may be likened to a school to which we return life after life to learn new lessons, as our children go to school day after day to increase their knowledge. The child sleeps through the night, which intervenes between 2 days at school, and the spirit also has its rest from active life between death and a new birth. That is how the spirit also has its rest. If we apply ourselves to learn the lessons of life, we shall advance much faster in the school of life than if we dilly-dally and idle our time away. We are not here by the caprice of God. He has not given one a healthy body so that he may live at ease from pain and sickness, while he placed another in poor circumstances with never-ending rest but all pain. God never did that. But what we are is based on our own diligence or negligence. And what we shall be in the future depends upon what we want or we will to be, and not upon divine caprice or upon inflexible fate. It's not so. It's our own making. No matter what the circumstances, it lies with us to master the circumstances. We need to master them or be mastered by the circumstances. For this reason, there are those who are ahead because of the good use that they had made of their opportunities in past lives. We have all been here in physical embodiment before. This is not the first time. The Jews knew about the doctrine of rebirth, or they wouldn't have asked John the Baptist if he were Elijah, as recorded in John chapter 1, verse 21. The apostles of Christ also held the belief of rebirth, as recorded in Matthew chapter 16, where the Christ asked them the question, "Whom do men say that I, the Son of Man, am?" The apostles replied, "Some say that thou art John the Baptist, some Elias, and others Jeremiah, or one of the prophets." The Christ tacitly assented to the teaching of rebirth because he did not correct the disciples as he would have done in his capacity as a teacher. Were the disciples mistaken? But to Nicodemus, he said unequivocally, "Except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God." And in Matthew chapter 11, verse 14, he said, speaking of John the Baptist, "This is Elijah." In Matthew chapter 17, verse 12, he said, "Elijah is come already, and they knew him not, but have done unto him whatsoever they listed." Then the disciples understood that he spoke to them of John the Baptist. If DNA explains all that we are, then siblings should not differ from their parents and among themselves in form, in character, intelligence, and attitudes. If we want to leave the problem of life, the issue of death, to only material things, and we are using DNA as a factor, then everybody should be the same. The form side of things can be established as science is doing. Science can establish the form side of things. But when it comes to the higher qualities of conscience, values, character, intelligence, emotions, and attitudes, each person is distinct as a result of the journey of the spirit through matter. Only the law of rebirth, together with its twin law, the law of cause and effect, explain the differences and the uniqueness of each person. And we refer you to lecture number 11, the law of cause and effect as a factor in your life. The presentation gives detailed explanation of this law. So please, you may go back to lecture number 11. The theory of rebirth teaches that each one of us, as spirit, is an integral part of God, containing all divine possibilities, as the seed enfolds the plant. That by means of repeated existences in an earthly body of gradually improving quality, the latent possibilities are slowly developed into dynamic powers, that none are lost by this process, but that humanity will ultimately attain the goal of perfection and reunion with God. When we die, after one life, we return to earth later, under circumstances determined by the manner in which we lived before. This theory of rebirth does not rest upon speculation. It is one of the first facts of life demonstrated to the follower of a Christian mystery or spiritual Christianity school. He or she is taught to watch a dying child and also to watch it in the invisible world from day to day until it comes back to a new birth a year or two later. Then the individual knows with absolute certainty that we return to earth to reap in a future life what we now sow. So what we sow now, what we do now, is the basis for our next life on earth. We sow our own life. The preference for watching a child to an adult is that the child is reborn very quickly, for its short life on earth has borne but few fruits, and these are soon assimilated, while the adult who has lived a long life and had much experience remains in the invisible worlds for centuries, so that the follower of a spiritual Christianity school could not watch him from death to rebirth. What we are saying is that the law of rebirth is a fact. It is not based upon speculation. If you seek spiritual development through the Christian way, one of the things you will be taught is to follow a child when he dies or she dies. Not only by the time the person dies, but even after the person has gone into the invisible world. You follow that spirit, that child in the invisible world until it is reborn again within 1 or 2 years, because children are born earlier than adults who had lived for a longer period. The average interval between two earth lives is about 1,000 years. The spirit takes physical embodiment, which we call birth, twice in 2,100 years, when the sun is going through one of the 12 zodiacal signs. It is giving birth, of course, is the physical body we are talking about. It takes physical embodiment once as a man and another time as a woman, so that the spirit can gain experience in both poles, the male side and the female side. The male side is to develop the will, that determination, that strong determination to get something done. And the female aspect is to develop the faculty of imagination, how to imagine. Such is the rule, but it is subject to whatever modifications may be necessary. So it is not a rigid law that 2,100 years the spirit must come twice, once as a male, once as a female. There is some level of flexibility. It may become necessary to facilitate reaping of a previous seed sown in life. And in such a manner, it is required under the law of causation that the spirit comes back to rebirth earlier or later. So at times, a spirit may be brought to birth long before the 1,000 years have expired. in order to fulfill a certain mission, or it may be detained in the invisible worlds after the time when it should have come to birth. There are great intelligences who always subordinate minor considerations to higher ends, and under their beneficent guidance, we are constantly progressing from life to life under conditions exactly suited to each individual, until in time we shall attain to a higher evolution to become Superman.
Filling up every space, no privacy. And silently, it could build and build until you finally see. Whoa, it's taking over, damn no closure, moving closer. No exposure, I just wanna be a loner. Some can't stay sober, looking over all this.